What's up, my fellow lionesses and lions? Welcome to the Project Lioness podcast, where we are here to disrupt the mainstream narrative when it comes to health, holism, and human consciousness. We are here to share bold truths about health and life from a female perspective. This episode is brought to you by our team, Inspire Co., where we stand for your health being inspired by choice rather than being inhibited by chance. Thank you for being here and joining in on these raw, real, and powerful conversations. We hope our show brings you inspiration and empowerment to overcome challenges, reclaim your life, and ultimately pursue your mission with power, purpose, and play. Now, let's get into the episode. Hello, fellow lions and lionesses. Welcome back to the Project Lioness podcast. This is your host, Dr. Mel, and today I am riding solo. It's been a minute since I've done a solo episode. I really hope that you guys are loving the guests coming on here. I know I have. I've really appreciated being a fly on the wall for some of these amazing leaders in our community, in the world, and bringing them to you. So this one is all me today because we are doing a midpoint check-in. We are over halfway through 2025, depending on when you're listening to this. And I thought it was important for me to just come on here. So grab your tea, grab your coffee, grab your water. I have if you're watching on YouTube, I've got my little espresso mug with some decaf espresso. This is my espresso mug that I got from Italy, and I'm absolutely in love with it. It is like the cutest thing, and it is so perfect. And I am like basically a decaf coffee girl, you guys. Like, I used to be that person that would drink coffee all day, like the bulletproof coffee, especially in college. And in your 30s, things are a little bit different, or at least I value trying to maintain my health as much as possible, like I did in my 20s. But your body evolves. Your body evolves, and that's okay. So I'm enjoying some decaf espresso. So pull up a chair, let's get cozy, and let's do a check-in. Let's talk about what's happening in our world, what we're growing into, and some of my ideas and thoughts and downloads that I've been having when it comes to the human container and where artificial intelligence falls in that, and where your genius as a human exists, and things in our life that cannot be replicated. So it's currently, at the time of this recording, it is August 2025, and we are rocking and rolling at Inspire Life. We are starting to do our workshops again, our Mental Health Matters workshops. So if you have not come to one of those, my friends, they are amazing. Our next one is August 27th on a Wednesday, and you will probably see this posted on our social media, in email campaigns and things like that. But I used to do these workshops all the time. And it really, really benefited the community. It really, really served them. It really brought so many people together and realized that there's hope, especially when it comes to things like mental health, right? Anxiety, depression, OCD, panic attacks, bipolar disorder, and, everything in between. And hopefully, if you're in my world, you understand. And if you don't, welcome to the new listeners. If you're in my world, you understand that I'm huge on bridging the gaps and the mysteries between the body and the mind, and really creating clarity when it comes to the psychosomatic connection of mental health stuff and where it lies in our physical health. So that's what we got going in Inspire Life. And we're loving this summer. We are definitely in growth phase right now, meaning we are completely revamping some things behind the scenes, because that's the nature of business and how to really make sure that our clients are best served. So that's what's happening at Inspire Life. And we are loving seeing more families come back from vacation and come into the practice and just attune their nervous system, attune their life, get that upgrade. It's such a gift. In my coaching business, woo-wee, my friends, we are in an expansion phase. I am completely revamping things, my website and behind the scenes programs. So we're in an expansion phase. And thankfully, I've got some amazing people on my team with me. Super, super grateful for them, because when you start to realize how big your mission and vision is, or you have a big vision and mission, you cannot do it alone. You are not meant to do it alone. And if you do, you will probably burn out. Now, that doesn't mean you need to hire like thousands of employees, but you've got to stay in your zone of genius. And this is for you healers and leaders and entrepreneurs who really listen to this podcast, because I know this podcast draws in more than just my practice members, but people from all over. So if you want to scale, if you really want to make an impact, I don't know who the saying is from, and I'm probably going to botch the quote, but it's like, if you want to go fast, do it alone. And honestly, if you want to go really fast, don't do it alone. But if you want to go fast, do it alone. If you want to go far and expansive, build a team. And so that's really, this has been the year of the team. We've had team turnover. We've had team changes. And that's the nature. That's the nature of business, y'all. So if you're an entrepreneur, get over yourself, right? Get over yourself, get over your ego, because you're not meant to do it alone, and not everyone on your team is going to stay, because they're going to evolve, they're going to grow, they're going to expand. And sometimes that's with you and sometimes it's not. And that's like, okay, that's okay. Don't take it personally, you know? And I've had a lot of lessons with that. And I'm at a point in my life where I can say that and not get so emotionally destroyed, because I've had a history in my life as a child of not having like stability and going back and forth between mom's house and dad's house and divorce and like all these changes. So I get it. I get it, y'all. I get it. And you can overcome those patterns. You can overcome those programs. You can. And if you want to learn how, keep sticking with me. Listen to this podcast. Join Project Lioness, right? I've got a lot of ways you can overcome the stories of your past so you can become the master of your destiny. So that's a little update for you. So if you see some modifications happening behind the scenes, emails, know that we're in a metamorphosis, and that's okay. Like, it's going to be messy. And I share my personal journey, and I peel back the curtain for you all, because whether you are a client of mine or a practice member, or you are a random person who found me on YouTube, part of growth is embracing the mess and being vulnerable and peeling back the curtain and not gatekeeping stuff that's going on. And I've tried my best to be as vulnerable and as possible, but also in that vulnerability and mess, live the journey of what it's like to become the evolution of yourself, to live into the metamorphosis where, yes, things are messy, things may be chaotic, but you don't have to stay there. You get to reorganize and move to a new layer and a new level. And in that new layer, new level and expansion, we are seeing a lot of that in the culture, right? Like, there's a lot of people right now who are super into like AI and coaching AI and just utilizing AI. And I would lie if I said I never used AI. I use it for certain things, especially like SOP type stuff that just doesn't require my zone of genius of being a practitioner and being a facilitator. That is where I think we as human beings can thrive, is the relational field. And I was talking about this on my Instagram stories the other day, where try as we might to have artificial intelligence replicate the human experience, it's trying. Like, I'm seeing them try, but what I found is like AI is a robot, and I could like right now, I could take my phone right here and just crack it, and like that robot no longer exists. You know, we see this in movies, right? If you like break the robot, it like doesn't, like the intelligence doesn't continue. Whereas you cut your hand, you maybe break a branch off of a tree, it regrows. Like the cells in our body replenish, reorganize, and rejuvenate, and the scab heals and you have new cells. That is organic intelligence. That is, a lot of people say this is source energy, it's chi, it's prana, it's, you know, God, like whatever you want to call it. In chiropractic, we call it innate intelligence. And there is something so profound and magical that happens when you are in a relational field, so with people in a container. There's such a profound experience that happens that no robot can recreate. Like if I just sit here and I'm talking to ChatGPT, right? And I'm like, I have all these health problems. Like, will you help me? Or like, I have a mindset problem. Will you help me? And it spits me back this like algorithm, right? Based on all the information that we've delivered to these, you know, large language models. That's essentially what it is, right? And that's great. And you can have a breakthrough with that. And that's awesome. And there's something so much more to life. And this is not to say that like it gives a pass for doctors or therapists or coaches or facilitators to like not master their game. I think now more than ever, you have to master your game as a facilitator. Like you must learn the art of what it means to be human. You've got to learn the art of somatics. You've got to learn the art of learning how to be with humans. And we can't do that if we're so caught up in our own shit. Like, we can't do that if we're still running programs from the past. We can't do that if we're still shackled by the shame of our past and root experiences. We can't. And think about this. If that's the energy you're leading into like AI, then imagine like the output you're going to get. Now, I do think that there are some cool things that people are doing with these GPTs about like how to help you through a problem in coaching. And that may give you an aha, right? It may give you like, oh, I never thought about it that way, right? And there's so much more available when you are being held by a real, living, breathing human in the flesh, that even virtually, right? Like, AI isn't spitting back. Like, if you're on YouTube right now and you're looking at my body postures and you're looking at my facial expressions, you can see that I am expressing a physiology. I'm expressing my organic intelligence. I'm expressing my natural intelligence. And there's body language, there's facial cues, there's tonality, right? There's something in my voice. And like, that's more holistic. And AI is a robot that, yes, you can choose these voices and tonality, but it's not going to give you the holistic feedback. It's going to give you some things to help with like your mental algorithms. But I also think simultaneously, human beings are going to crave human touch, human connection, being held in those spaces where like real human transformation happens in community. In community. You know what AI doesn't have? Community. It does not have a community field. When I say relational field, I mean being in relationship with other human beings who are breathing, who are moving, who are sweating, who are giving you body language and subtle shifts that even your subconscious can pick up. Not always your conscious mind, but your subconscious picks that up. Our bodies create this field effect. And I go deeper into this in our Inspire Immersions. I talk about this. I talk about the importance of healing trauma in a relational field and not in isolation talking to a fucking robot in your basement. Okay? And at the same time, if you're a therapist, a doctor, a coach, a facilitator, it's time to up your game, because yes, you have AI to compete with. You do. You do, because it can spit out an answer like that. Whereas if you're a therapist or a doctor or facilitator, because I know I have a lot of other chiropractors and facilitators listen to this, if you're struggling to like facilitate someone and you're off your game, is that going to impact results? Yes. No pressure, right? And you guys know this. Like, a lot of people know this. Like, oh, I wasn't on my game when I was with my client, or I was just tired, or, you know, my hormones are getting in the way, or whatever. I talk a lot about this in my Project Lioness program. I also have my Inspire Method Facilitator training program, which I'm going to be talking a lot more about, because I've brought a core group of leaders to that program who are now getting results. But I teach you the art of facilitation. I teach you how to master this work. Whether you are someone who wants to step into this work and become a facilitator, or maybe you are a professional, a health professional, and you want to up your game, you've got to up your game. You've got to be able to go deeper with people and do it from a place of, one, being nervous system informed, being human literate, so understanding human beings have and carry baggage and learning how to work with that, as well as how to track these subtle cues in the physiology that oftentimes when you're talking to ChatGPT isn't picking up on. It's very mental. And we are more than just our mental energy. We have emotions, we have a physical body, we have a soul, we have a psychology. All these parts go into the human experience. It's the whole human. And while, again, I am a fan of using AI to help with like little micro tasks that you don't have to be wasting your genius on, simultaneously, there's going to be, I think, a big rising of people who would like really want to work with people, who can be with them in person, at events, that type of thing. I think we're going back to the basics, you know, after 2020. This is just, by the way, this is like a Nostradamus moment. This is like a Mel moment. I have no idea if this is going to happen. This is just my prediction. Okay? This is just what I see. These are patterns that I'm noticing. These are predictions that I'm making. Do not run with it, or do. It's up to you what you want to do with this information. But I digress. Can you tell that I am in ovulation phase right now? Like, I am on fire. I'm just before ovulation. So I'm like peak follicular phase. I felt really called, though, to talk about this because I think a lot of people are afraid of the acceleration of AI. I think a lot of people are going to get lost. I think they're going to maybe lose their purpose if they don't really connect with what your soul essence is saying, because things are going to be starting to be more consumed by artificial intelligence. Like that's just the nature, because us humans do want to free up our creative space. So if you don't have something creative or really inspiring that you're working on, now may be the time to really step into that. Like, what is lighting your soul on fire that no robot can recreate or do for you? Like, that can only be birthed through you, that can only be birthed through your own organic human intelligence. Like, what is that for you? And I'm going to invite you to explore that, because as much as AI and artificial intelligence is going to take over certain tasks that like we as human beings really don't need to be doing, what does that leave you? And I don't say that to scare you, but it's happening, you guys. Like, we have to face this reality. Like, it is happening, and maybe it'll all collapse and go away and we'll be left with like living on a beach somewhere and just trading seashells. Cool. Non-attachment. But what does that leave for you? Right? What does that leave for you when it comes to your purpose, your mission, your vision? What's lighting your soul on fire? Like, what is that thing for you that would help pull you out of the fear and step into your own inner ferocity? This is the place I love meeting people. Is they've been in a state, they've been in a chapter of their lives, and they are emerging and noticing like there's something greater coming online for them. Their genius is starting to come through. Their soul is like, stop ignoring me. Listen now. And some of you have gotten a little tap on the shoulder, and some of you, it's been a fucking slap to the face. And I love to meet people in that space, whether you just got slapped in the face or you're noticing the taps. I love to meet people at this space where it's who they are and who they're becoming, like that space between, where they feel a little lost mentally, but like their soul and their body knows. They're like, I know my destiny is emerging, and I know it, and I feel the call and I see the outcome, but I don't know how to get there in a way that is sustainable. I don't know how to get there without carrying the resentment and the guilt and the shame, the baggage of my past. I love meeting people there, because guess what? When you heal that shame and baggage and resentment from your past and you destroy it, okay? You consciously destruct it and collapse it, your whole life opens up. And so much more becomes possible, because not only is it an energetic thing, it's a physiological thing. So you come out of your brainstem, you come out of your amygdala and stop viewing life through the lens of your past, and you step into those greater parts of your brain, the ability to think creatively, the ability to act courageously. When you merge those two, anything and everything becomes possible, regardless of what you've gone through. And I have seen, y'all, I have seen some people in some dark shit. Okay? And I'm here to tell you, like, nothing is like not overcomable, if that makes sense. Like, if you think that like, oh, I've got shit, Mel, and I'm stuck like this. Nope. I've seen it. I've seen a lot of it. And I'm going to say these words, and you might be like, oh, that kind of resonates with me. Or like, oh my gosh, I've tried all these things. I've done all this therapy. I've done all this stuff. And you might be wondering like, okay, nothing's really working. I've seen people overcome divorce, molestation, sexual rupturing, rape, bankruptcy, parents stealing from them, stealing money from them at a young age, people leaving their life, adoption, being left on the side of the road. I've seen it all. After almost 9 years in both the chiropractic space and the coaching space, I've seen it. And there is a methodology to overcoming. There is a method of transformation. I call it the intersection of transformation, which is using science, what works, looking back in the past and seeing what's working, what's not working, and physiology, of course, neuroscience, strategy. So what do you want to create into your future? What's stopping you from moving into your future? Somatics, because we know that these stories are totally held in the body. They're not just in the mind. And then soul. So we can do so much work in like the mind and the body, but if it's not connected to your soul essence of like why you were born and incarnated here, then you're only going to get so far. And your soul is eternal. It's what lights you up. It's what you know deep in your bones why you came here. And your body may know, or your mind may know, but there's probably things stopping you. There's probably things stopping you, your fear, your stories, your beliefs. And so where I like to come in is figuring out what's stopping you. How do we break that down? How do we actually get you to realize that what is actually a challenge is serving you? So rewiring your brain, recalibrating your nervous system, in a way that actually inspires you to take action, to challenge versus running away from it. And again, there's a whole methodology to this. It's not a woo-woo thing. It's not just repeating mantras or affirmations. There's a whole method. And I teach that method in Project Lioness. I teach that method to my Inspire Method facilitators from both a brain to body perspective as well as a body to brain, so that we can address the whole human. And this comes back to my original point with this podcast as a check-in of what I'm working on and what these things actually are. Because I have people ask, like, what is Project Lioness? What is the Inspire Method facilitator training? Like, what is this stuff, you know? And I wanted to talk about that today because there is an uprising of people I see stepping into their power, stepping into their genius, stepping into their, what I call inner lioness, where you take action and have courage despite fear. Because fear is never going to go away, my friends. It's never going to go away. Good luck with that. Unless you have unless you cut out your brainstem and you cut out your amygdala, which there are some people who their amygdala doesn't fire the way that other people's does. And so they don't really have fear, but they're also kind of sociopaths or psychopaths because they don't really have a lot of emotion. So your amygdala helps you experience emotion, which is important. Anyway, I came on here to talk about this, to talk about where I'm at in life and what I'm seeing as results with clients, both in the practice and out of the practice, and like what this could mean for you. And what is possible when you choose to really embrace your own unique genius? What is possible when you embrace the humanness that is you and stop judging yourself? So Project Lioness specifically is all about, one, learning how to heal trauma for good and like stop the trauma dumping, stop the trauma cycle, like truly evolve from it and just be done with it, where it doesn't completely like grip at you all the time, every fucking day. Like you're just evolved from it. You transform your trauma to triumph. That's part one, is really getting safe in your body and illuminating what is so in your life, what's happened, and like, how do we rewire that, right? That's part one. And then part two is like, how do you build that confidence? Because now you're feeling safer in your body. You're realizing that what's happened to you has actually happened for you. And now you've got a little bit more courage. You've got a little bit more confidence and tenacity and ferocity to take action. So you build courage and confidence to then step into different relationships, whether that's intimate relationships, business relationships, work relationships, right? In that, as you dissolve these charges of your past, you become way more vibrant and magnetic because your physiology isn't running a trauma program. It's running a triumph program. And that automatically influences your biology, period. I don't have the time in this podcast to explain that. If you want to learn that, join Project Lioness, become a facilitator. That is the entire thing I teach. Like, how does this stuff work in the body? And guess what? It's way cheaper than, a lot of other programs out there, a lot of other educational programs that really just scratch the surface. We go deep, y'all. We go deep. So let me take a sip of my espresso. I don't know why I say it like that. Decaf espresso. So you've healed your trauma. You've turned into your triumph. You've turned the very thing that you thought was the worst thing in the world is actually probably become your fucking superpower, which is amazing. Like, imagine that. Imagine that for a second. This thing. Oh my gosh. I'm getting so excited. My earbuds are falling out of my ears. Imagine for a second the very thing that's been like in the back of your mind, in the back of your trunk in the car, and you're like driving around and you're like trying to get to San Francisco or wherever the fuck you're driving. And you know that bag that you've wanted to return, those clothes, or you've wanted to donate, has been in your fucking car for months, for years. And you're like, oh my God, you try to forget it and you just can't. You just can't. Because you're not meant to forget it. You're meant to face it. And you're meant to alchemize it. And you're meant to take those dirty clothes, take those clothes that you feel ashamed of, and completely make a new wardrobe. Where you turn it from raggedy old shit to fucking rock star vibes, Jedi vibes. And you become the main character of your life. Without, I might add, without bypassing emotion. Because I've been there. I've been in spiritual containers where everything is peace, love, light, and bliss. And we don't actually talk about how emotions serve us, how to actually become the master of our emotions. I talk about this at my mental emotional immersion, which I'm rebranding to Camp Jedi, how to become the inner Yoda, your inner Yoda, right? Like imagine if you had a little Yoda sitting on your shoulder. For those of you who haven't seen Star Wars, can you imagine if you had a little Yoda just chilling? And like the moment you got off center, the moment you went from Jedi to whatever the opposite of Jedi is, where you're just like poised and centered and you're like moving energy in the universe, right? Can you imagine in any moment you've got that inner Yoda, that inner master Jedi to be like, finding the balance of the universe. It's going to save you a lot of time. It's going to save you a lot of money, because if you can learn this stuff and how to apply it, and you've invested in yourself to learn how to become the best doctor yourself, you won't have to keep running to all these healers, thinking that you're broken. Imagine that for a second. So, heal the trauma, transform the trauma, build the confidence, step into new relationships. You become more vibrant. You've dissolved the baggage, which has amplified your energy in your body. You're not literally carrying this around in your somatics. And so your energy frees up in your body. You heal from chronic disease. And then you become the wealth master. You generate generational, wealth. And I don't mean money. But if you want it to mean money, you can. Because when you're operating at a different frequency and you're operating in service to humanity and you're not letting your bullshit of your past control you, you have the opportunity to serve thousands, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, millions of people to help them. Because you're not caught up in your own story. You're not making it all about you. You've realized, like, wait a second, I have a gift. What I thought was my baggage has actually become my fuel. One of my mentors called it taking energy from the trunk and turning it into your tank, your fuel, to make forward momentum to then serve others. That's what the Buddha has said this entire time. End suffering in thyself so you can help the suffering of others. It's what Buddha's been saying this entire time. I'm not religious. I like to study actually all religions. I just ordered a book about Mary Magdalene and the Gnostic gospel. I'm down to study all the greats. I'm down to study all the greats on this planet. Now you're healthier. You're more vibrant. You have more energy. You're serving people and you're building wealth in the way that matters to you. You've got to know your North Star. What is your North Star? Those are your values, your identity, your beliefs, and your mission, your vision, your purpose. That is your North Star that guides you, that keeps you focused on what it is you're here to do on this planet. But we can't start there because you've got all this stuff from your past. So yes, you can have a vision for your future that pulls you, right? That's really important to have. And simultaneously, while you're creating this vision for your future, what inspires you, you've got to clear up this junk out of your trunk. It just reminded me of like middle school, high school. You got some junk in the trunk, girl. Time to clear it out, okay? Now, if building wealth financially is part of the game, then great. That's what I teach in my Embodied Sales Incubator, which is like rewiring these beliefs around money, rewiring these things around sales, and actually not living into like money is evil and sales is sleazy. No, it's not. Everything is neutral until you assign a meaning to it. So I didn't intend this podcast to be sharing, all the intricacies of what I've been working on, but I'm super excited by it. And I wanted you all to know because I've had a lot more people reach out to me and they're curious. So I said, let me just make a podcast and talk to all of you when it comes to the things I'm doing more in my coaching business, as well as my practice, Inspire Life. So this is a midway check-in and maybe helps you understand the power of the work that we're doing and the power of the work that's available to you when you choose to have courage and step into it. Because the very thing you're seeking often exists on the very thing that you're avoiding. And I wish it were different. I really do. I really do. Because it is not fun to step into fear all the time. But you know what? You get better at it and it doesn't control you. And you realize, okay, I'm safe. I can do this. Yes, it's scary, but I'm going to live. And material things are going to come and go. Money's going to come and go. Material things are going to come and go. But what really matters is like, and this is a question I'll ask you, when you are on your deathbed, what do you want to remember yourself by? Do you want to die with some regrets? Like, oh, I wish I would have done that. Or do you want to like exhaust all your creative potential and leave it as a legacy? That's the question I'll leave you with in this podcast. What type of legacy do you want to leave on this planet? What type of legacy do you want to leave for your kids? What type of legacy do you want to leave for the people that you love? What type of legacy do you want to leave for your soul? That's a question you have to answer. I can't answer for you. Thank you all for tuning in with me. I'm grateful that I have this community to share, to speak to. I love teaching, and I do get feedback on you guys listening to the podcast. So that means a lot. It means a lot that you're listening and that you're learning. And I try to bring you so much value and teach you and bring people who I think you'd resonate with. So I wanted to take a moment and share with you like what I've got coming, what I've got going on, and the results that we're seeing, which is super, super cool, bringing hundreds of people now through these programs and really just seeing their soul turn on. Like it's such a gift, and I'm so grateful I get to lead people. I'm so fucking grateful, and I just love coming up with new ideas and teachings of how to help people really rise into their own inner healer and inner leader and inner entrepreneur. And listen, even if you're not an entrepreneur, you still have entrepreneurial tendencies. You're still a creator. You're still a healer in your own right. We're all healers. We're all healers. We're all leaders. We're all entrepreneurs in some way, in some form of our life. So what would it look like to be able to step more into that and like be excited about your life and just shoot out of bed and be like, let's go. Like, I'm super pumped to get into my life. And guess what? There's going to be challenges. There's going to be breakdowns. There's going to be emotions. You're going to experience trauma. Like that's part of life, my friends. Earth, as one of my mentors says, and you guys maybe heard another podcast with Dr. Brian Lum, Earth is a trauma-based learning school. And I'm not saying that like, you know, we need to experience trauma to grow, but we need to challenge ourselves, no doubt. But like, what if you could take the things that have happened to you in the past and rewire it and transform it to be like, oh my gosh, I don't have to live into that story anymore. Like, I'm a fucking badass. I'm a fucking badass, right? So fun, right? So fun. Comment below if you're watching on YouTube what you're getting out of this. Give me a like, reply to an email if I sent this to you. This stuff lights me up if you can't tell. It lights me up. And it can light you up too. And listen, it doesn't matter if you enroll in one of my programs or not, but let this podcast be an inspiration to you to be like, you know what? How can I step into my like genius, my creative powers, like 10% more? Like, what would that look like? What would it look like to be brave and courageous AF to like do the thing? Do the thing. Maybe it's like saying the thing you've been holding back, or it's stepping into something that you've wanted to for so long, or it's saying no to something, or like letting something go, right? Whatever you're creating or destroying, how can you be 10% more courageous today than you were yesterday? Because the greatest illusion I think we as human beings have is we think we have more time than we actually do. We'll say, well, I'll do that someday. I'll do that tomorrow, or I'll do that another day. Yeah, listen, I get it. Like, we all have full lives. We all have shit going on. I fucking get it. But you are not promised tomorrow. You are not. That is, you know, the illusion of our prefrontal cortex and the fantasy we create sometimes. So as much as I'm saying create a vision for your life, simultaneously, you don't know when your last day on this planet will be. You really don't. Maybe some of you do. Maybe you've done some astrological charts, but you really fucking don't. So like, what are you going to do to live all out today? What are you going to do? Like, I don't know. Why not act as if the vision is happening now? Why not act as if you are being that person that you think is all the way into the future? But when you really get into the quantum and into my world, you realize time is an illusion as well. And that everything you desire is here right now. You just have to claim it and step into it and become it now. And be the bigness of the fellow within. Be the courage. Be it. Be, do, have. Be, do, have. And in that beingness of collapsing time, the things that you desire actually magnetize and you collapse time in an instant. What used to happen in a year happens in a month. What used to happen in 5 years happens in 5 months. Because you're being all who you are. You're not hiding. You're not telling these stories of someday. Well, someday I'll do that. And listen, I get, like, you got kids, there's stuff going on. You got to sleep, right? If you don't sleep, that leads to some issues. But what if you could tap into that energy, that state of being versus doing more, and embody that? So like whatever you want to become, how can you own that right now? How can you see where you're already that? How can you become what is you perceive as that? How can you be it here and now? Like if you want to be a rock star, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a business owner, cool. Where are you already being and doing and having those things? Find the form. I teach that in my Project Lioness, learning how to find the form in which these things you want already exist. Because if you want it, then that means there's a separation versus being it and becoming it and owning it. You allow it to expand. So yes, set a vision, but then realize the way that you manifest the vision is actually becoming it now and expanding into it now. So I went a little bit longer there. I was going to end, and then I got a download of inspiration. And if some of you are like, oh my gosh, what the fuck is she talking about? Then go back and listen to old podcasts. You can probably hear that I've gone through my own metamorphosis and my own growth journey and stepping more into my soul essence and not holding back parts of myself, not playing the game of like, well, I need to be professional it's like, no, I'm a human being. Yes, I'm a doctor. I'm a leader. I'm a speaker. I'm a coach. I'm a facilitator. I'm an author now. I got my book coming out. Like I've got all these things. These are all identities. But at the end of the day, like beyond the identity, those identities are going to change. Beyond that, I am a soul that's incarnated here in physical form that is here to transform humanity. And there's going to be many ways in which I do that. So if you're really resonating with this, let me know. If I'm triggering the fuck out of you, also let me know that, because that means that there's something there for us. I always say like the very thing that like catalyzes you is probably like your next medicine, truthfully, to become whole, because we have all the parts. We have all the parts. Sometimes we're an angel. Sometimes we're an asshole. Sometimes we're really kind. Sometimes we're a fucking jerk. Sometimes we're a devil. Sometimes we're a rock star. Like we are all these characteristics and all these parts. Sometimes we're an angry teenager. Sometimes we're a blissful goddess, right? Sometimes we're super cool. Sometimes we're super sad. All these parts make up who we are. But the real magic is like you are the space between those parts that brings it all together. Thank you all for listening. Let me know what you got out of this. Super grateful to do this call with you. Super grateful to do this podcast and just have it be me. And you can see my stream of consciousness and my downloads. If you're interested in anything all that I said, if you've been curious about changing your game with money, with sales, I'll drop the Embodied Sales link in the show notes. I'm starting another round of that in October. This is for anyone, by the way. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. If you're like, I got some money shit I got to figure out, cool, join me. It's a great program. Then I've got Project Lioness. I will drop that in the chat. We're going to be opening up enrollment for that here in the next couple months. And then if you want to become a facilitator of this work, Project Lioness is the next step for you. Because you have got to master thyself first before you master and help others facilitate themselves. The best facilitators, the best healers are the ones who are walking the talk. And they're embodying the work, okay? So I'll drop those in the chat, and you can take a look. Let me know if you have questions. You can book a call with me, and I'm wishing you guys all the best. I'll see you at the next perfect time. Peace, love, and keep inspiring.
Thank you for joining the Project Lioness podcast. Did you find value in today's episode? Help us impact the lives of others by sharing this podcast with someone you know who would resonate and benefit from the Project Lioness message. Excited to hear more? We invite you to subscribe on whatever platform you're tuning in on. And we'd be so grateful for you to leave us a review about what you enjoy most, as well as what you'd like to hear more of. Thank you so much for all of your support. Sincerely yours in power, purpose, and play. Dr. Mel with the Project Lioness podcast. Keep rising, keep roaring, and keep inspiring.